So I just received my wife's new 630 bike and I'm about to start putting it together. So here is what it looks like when you take it out of the box. There's your parts with your pedals and your seat, and that was all taped up to the side so it was all nice and compact. And then you've got your tire to put on the front wheel. So I guess I'll get to going to it and I'll stop along the way and show you how it looks. The first step is installing the front tire wheel, and it's simply a matter of aligning the wheel up with the forks. You bring the front forks around, you disconnect your brake, which it shows you in the instructions how to do all that. You open your brake up, put your wheel in, and it just sits in these forks. And then you install this piece through it, which is your quick release handle, and it's just got a nut on the other side. You just tighten it up slightly until you've got enough tension on this lever, and that holds your wheel in place. It's really a simple process. Okay, this is pretty easy too. You just take your fender, bring it in, slide it along, and it's going to attach to the bolt that's already in there. I'm just going to undo that bolt and attach that, and then there's bolts and nuts down here. I'm going to attach it to the fork and we'll be good to go. So it's a pretty easy thing. Again, it's in your instructions. Okay, the next thing was installing the handlebars into the frame, and that was simple as well. You got this little cap that covers the nut, but you've got a nut down here that the bar just slides into, and you place that over to cover it up. Okay, next we're going to take our seat post. You notice you've got a small end at the top for your seat. You place it into the seat stem. Now, one thing you want to make sure it says in the instructions is you don't drop this down into the, I don't know if it'll go all the way down in there. I don't think it will, but nah, it won't. So you don't even have to worry about that, but it does say in the instructions to be careful. And we'll tighten this clamp up and then we'll get it situated. Okay, we got the seat on there. It's just a clamp. Use the crescent wrench to tighten the bolts up, clamp it to the seat. You can adjust it, tilt it down or up, swivel it side to side. So we'll adjust that later when my wife gets out here. And next it's on to the pedals. And the pedals are marked with a right and a left so you can tell which one's which. And you'll need a 15mm crescent wrench to tighten them up. You could use an adjustable wrench if you had to, but that's all there is to it. So I'm going to go ahead and put those on. One thing to be aware of, it is marked in the instructions, but I just thought I'd point it out. The left pedal is reverse threaded, so instead of righty-tighty, it's left to tighten. Okay, next is to pump the tires up. So I'm going to use my electric compressor here and pump them up. It's 40 to 65 psi. 65 being the max, so just keep that in mind. I guess you could adjust it for the ride if you want a softer or harder ride. Okay, well, I've got it all together. I'd say it took me about 45 minutes, but I was working really slow. I'm very meticulous, kind of anal retentive, so I read and reread the instructions, but even doing that, I made a couple mistakes. First of all, I had the handlebar shaft backwards, so in other words I had this portion facing backwards on the bike, so in essence the handlebars were upside down. So I had to take that back out and spin it around, and I also had these cables on the inside of the handlebar, so I had to pull it back out and flip them back to the outside so they weren't in the way. But other than that, it was actually a pretty easy process, I'd have to say. The instructions are very clear, concise. The bike was packed really, really well. I did have to do some adjustment on the gear to get it to shift right. That's also in the instructions, very clear, very easy instructions. Just a matter of loosening or rather tightening these screws here and adjusting the shifter and then tightening the tension on the cable. And I did that just like the instructions said. First time, fixed it right up. So it shifts perfectly now. Ride's really nice, very quiet, very, very happy overall. Thank you, 630. So I just received my wife's new 630 bike and I'm about to start putting it together. So here is what it looks like when you take it out of the box. There's your parts with your pedals and your seat, and that was all taped up to the side, so it was all nice and compact. And then you've got your tire to put on the front wheel. So